morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the United States Navy Memorial. What a truly fitting place to welcome our Navy's newest Chief Petty Officers as they join a rich naval legacy. The Chief Petty Officer pinning ceremony is a public recognition of the most significant career milestone for our Navy's enlisted ranks, and we are grateful you're here to share it with our fiscal year 2023 Naval District Washington Area Chief Petty Officer Selects. I'm Senior Chief Musician Casey Campbell, and I'm honored to serve as the Master of Ceremonies for today's ceremony. Guests, please rise for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the arrival of the fiscal year 23 Chief Petty Officer Selects, the presentation of colors, and the invocation. Bosun, post the side boys. Fleet Forces Command, arriving. Distinguished members of the official party, ladies and gentlemen, at this time it gives me great pleasure to introduce you to the fiscal year 2023 Naval District Washington Area Chief Petty Officer Selects. Advance the colors. retire the colors. Chaplain Stroud will now offer the invocation.
Join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to gather together today to celebrate the Chief's Mess and all that it means to our Navy. We thank you for these new Chief inductees and for all that you have done to bring them to this place in their lives and their careers. We thank you for their families and the role that they have played to bring their sailor to this time. We ask now that you bless us with your presence. Join us here today that all that we say and do might honor these selectees, our Navy, and our nation. For we ask it all in your holy name. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Stroud. Will the guests please be seated? Chief Petty Officers and Selects, parade rest. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce U.S. Fleet Forces Command Fleet Master Chief John Perryman.
Good morning. What a fantastic day. I'm not sure we could have asked for better weather. Before I address our newest chiefs, I would like to recognize all of our special guests in attendance and say thank you to all who had a hand in developing these 25 sailors into Navy Chief Petty Officers. Welcome to our distinguished visitors and Naval Service alumni, retired Secretary Stephanie Easter, retired Vice Admiral Robert Sharp, and retired Admiral Jay Bynum. Thank you for continuing to support our sailors and for your decades of naval service. I would also like to welcome distinguished visitors, Vice Admiral Yancey Lindsay, Vice Admiral John Fuller, Rear Admiral Tom Anderson, and Miss Jill Boward. Thank you for attending today's ceremony. I extend a very special welcome to the families and friends of our new chiefs. Today's ceremony would not be possible without your love and support throughout their naval career. Welcome to our Chiefs of Staff, Commanding and Executive Officers, and CMCs. Thank you all for making time in your busy schedules to be here and for supporting our Chiefs Mess. And last but certainly not least, welcome to all of our shipmates for being here to witness the fruits of their support. You too have earned your place here by helping shape these 25 Chief Petty Officers standing before us. And a big Bravo Zulu goes to the Naval District Washington area Chiefs for your dedication over the past 6 weeks and all year really to transform these 25 sailors into United States Navy Chiefs. Please join me in a round of applause for our NDW Chiefs Mess. Great job, team. Now, whenever I'm getting ready for one of these speaking events, I'm not the type of person who's very good at sitting down at a computer and typing, and so I usually spend some time thinking about what I want to say in my head. Now, that may seem somewhat normal. The problem is my family knows when I'm doing it because it looks like I'm talking to myself, right? And it goes something like this. And so a couple weeks ago, I was working on getting ready for these remarks, and my wife, Angie, looked at me, and she's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Well, I'm getting ready for the pinning ceremony." She's like, "Oh, okay." A couple days later, I'm doing it again, and she says, "John, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm still working on my remarks for the Chiefs pinning." She's like, "Hey, dude, nobody there is interested really in what you have to say, right? They're here to see their Chiefs get pinned, so do everybody a favor, keep it short and to the bare minimum and get off the stage." And I quickly realized she was correct, and I retooled my remarks, so I'll get to those here, and then I'll be out of the way so we can get to the pinning ceremony. As I worked, as I retooled my remarks, as Angie said, I settled on one idea that I want the new chiefs to remember, and really to remind our current chief petty officers. From this day forward, you will be somebody's first chief. Let that sink in for a second and think about all of the implications that are rolled into that thought. Every single sailor in the Navy, officer and enlisted, remembers their first chief. You are the person who will set the initial foundation, tone, and trajectory of that sailor's career. Their success in the Navy is tied to your ability to serve in a number of roles for them: teacher, mentor, leader, counselor, and confidant. I vividly remember my first chief, QMC David Olin. He not only taught me everything I know about submarine navigation, he also taught me how to be a good submariner, sailor, and shipmate. 27 years later, I still draw on his teachings. That's impact. That's who you are now, and that's the legacy you can leave with all of your junior sailors and junior officers you will have the privilege of leading. As daunting as that sounds, the Navy selected you for advancement to chief because we know you are ready and will tirelessly devote yourself to the success of your sailors and your commands. I would also like to acknowledge the incredible support of the families. Every one of us on active duty could not, would not be successful without the sacrifices you make every day. Thank you for your willingness to share your service member with us and for your continued service to our Navy. You should take great pride in this day, for it would not have been possible without you. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of this special day. Congratulations on achieving the significant milestone in your career, and I am very much looking forward to all of the successes your sailors will have under your leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, Fleet Master Chief Perryman. And now I have the pleasure of introducing our guest speaker for today's ceremony, Admiral Darrell Caudle. Admiral Caudle is a native of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and a 1985 graduate of North Carolina State University, and is the current commander of the United States Fleet Forces Command, based in Norfolk, Virginia. He concurrently serves as Commander, Naval Forces Northern Command, Commander, Naval Forces Strategic Command, and Commander, Task Force Atlantic. He mans, trains, equips, certifies, and employs over 125 ships and submarines, 1,000 aircraft, and 125,000 sailors and government employees, executing an annual budget of $14 billion, and is responsible for providing combat-ready forces forward to numbered fleets and combatant commanders around the globe in support of U.S. national interests. During past assignments, he was the Commander, Submarine Forces, Commander, Submarine Force Atlantic, Commander Task Forces 114, 88, and 46, and Commander, Allied Submarine Command. And now, ladies and gentlemen, would you please join me in welcoming our guest speaker, Admiral Darrell Caudle.
Good morning. It's as the fleet said, it is just an unbelievable day. I mean, the weather, the audience, the background, the backdrop, and I'm just so thrilled to be here from Norfolk to be part of this this special event. I've known Fleet Perryman a long time, and those who do know him know without a doubt that he's one of the most effective Master Chief Petty Officers in the Navy. He pretty much underwrites almost everything I do in some way, shape, or form. And so as he was describing what his wife Angie was talking about, I was in a dilemma. And I wanted to highlight this because this is the tension that our spouses have the capability of putting us under. On one hand, I have Donna, my wife, here on the front row, telling me that the audience is going to be hanging on to every word I say. And on the other hand, I've got the Master Chief wife saying they're not going to hear a damn thing you say. And now what to do? You know, Donna, I tend to believe Angie. But anyway, I'll give it my best, and we'll spend a little time together this morning because I want this to be special. It is a special day. And quite frankly, from this day forward, you will be somebody's first chief. that leader who makes a profound impact on a sailor's career. Think of the impact of that statement. I'm not sure if there is any better advice I can give than that, but I'll do my best. It is truly exciting to see everyone gathered here at the Navy Memorial in our nation's capital to witness what many view as the crowning achievement in a sailor's career, the pinning on of the fouled anchors of a Chief Petty Officer. I know that a lot of hard work went on and went into planning such a fitting ceremony, but exponentially more work was done by these proud sailors you see before you to earn the title and commensurate responsibilities we will bestow upon them today. For certain, Chief season, while rewarding, is extremely demanding. The strain that has been placed on you and your loved ones is purposefully designed and meaningful. Up and at it well before the crack of dawn and returning home late in the evening, becoming a Chief Petty Officer requires commitment and dedication, as well as enduring support from family and friends. And so I want to congratulate you on your selection to become a Chief Petty Officer and your acceptance by the Chief's Mess. It is a remarkable achievement and truly a time to celebrate the years of hard work it took to successfully navigate the long deployments, the sleepless nights, the constant engagement required to attain the level of professional excellence and the outstanding leadership that each of you embody. I would also like to recognize the entire Chief's Mess of the Naval District, Washington, for their tireless efforts over the last few months in ensuring today's celebration instills pride and excitement and the reverence it deserves. I'm sure there are many more people at home and out in the fleet who couldn't make it here today, but I know for certain that they are excited, proud, and celebrating this event with you from afar. On average, it takes about 13 or so years of dedicated naval service for a sailor to be selected for promotion to Chief Petty Officer. Some less, some more, but each navigate their own unique path. And along that path, they have forged a chain of knowledge, experience, and sage counsel that is bound to the anchors that they will wear. And so I want to echo what was said earlier and agree that all of you, moms, dads, brothers, sisters, spouses, significant others, friends, shipmates, and mentors, through your steadfast support and efforts over the course of those challenging years, have laid the foundation for them to be here today and fortified the links of the chain they bear. I firmly believe that the strong foundation of our families provided at home enables service members to go to sea with confidence and conviction. And it is your strength, love, and determination that make us resilient enough to endure the long, difficult, and sometimes dangerous days far from home. Because of that, my wife Donna and I would like to thank you all for what you have done. And just as importantly, for what you will do in support of our sailors, our Navy, and our great nation. How about a warm round of applause for those sailor spouses, for their children, and for all Navy families. Now, I bring up the future because that is precisely what this ceremony is about. Unlike award ceremonies in which we focus on what someone has accomplished, promotion ceremonies are directly focused on one's future potential. Of course, it goes without saying, one of the best ways to measure someone's future potential is by evaluating and assessing their past performance. Each of these chief selects you see before you today were compared against their peers. We searched for those who are already working at the next level, those demonstrating strong leadership skills, and those who have mastered their trade while also developing those same attributes in the sailors they lead. Because of your potential, we expect, no, quite frankly, we demand much from you, and that is appropriate because the Chief Petty Officer title comes with responsibilities and privileges that are quite unique in our armed forces. For a Navy Chief is much more than just a non-commissioned officer, much more. the khaki uniform, and the combination cover are symbols of that difference. Now that you wear khaki, those sailors and families that you serve will make assumptions based on the title chief, that you are a fountain of wisdom, an ambassador of goodwill, the absolute technical authority, and the North Star of their moral compass. Admiral Bull Halsey once said to a stranger at a fleet parade, "You don't understand. You see those battleships sitting there? You think they float on water? You're wrong. They are carried to sea on the backs of the chief petty officers that serve on them." And he was absolutely right. The qualities, responsibilities, and demeanor expected of every sailor who earns the title chief were not directed by higher authority, but forged by your predecessors over time. And since 1893, those who have worn the fouled anchors have selflessly borne the burden of others to make our Navy more effective, more lethal, and our families stronger and better prepared. While you benefit from that proud legacy, as you step into the chief's mess, you must also add to it. We celebrate today's occasion because it is a monumentous achievement in a sailor's career, shared equally by all of those who took part in the triumphs and tribulations along the way, and worthy of the pomp and circumstance we afford it. However, it is critical to your future success, and further to that of the Navy and the nation, that you fully understand that making chief is not an end state. It is, in all matter of the term, a new beginning on your journey as a leader within our great Navy. For 247 years, our Navy has stood the watch along our coast, upon distant seas, and upon foreign shores to protect America from attack and to preserve our nation's strategic interests around the world. To answer this charge, our fleets must be constantly ready to set sail, maneuver into harm's way, to deter, defend, and if necessary, to fight and win decisively whenever and wherever we may be called into action. In preparing for that mission, our Navy and our sailors and our families will absolutely need your best, not only when we are blessed with fair winds and following seas, but when the storms on the horizon close upon us swiftly and without warning. In that, the priorities of the chief's mess are to be master warfighters, subject matter experts, trusted mentors, and a voice for the sailors and their families. One with courage and conviction to selflessly carry the load of those we have the privilege to lead. Now, I want to take a moment and take an opportunity here to share a story with you that has many parallels to the challenges we face at sea today and exemplifies the legacy you're inheriting as a Navy chief. Oscar Vernon Peterson joined the United States Navy in 1920 after growing up in Wisconsin. At home, his wife and two young sons supported his career, and by the onset of World War II, he had achieved the rank of Chief Water Tender, which subsequently evolved to Boilerman and is now known as our machinist mates. He was assigned to the USS Neosho, a West Coast Cimarron-class fleet oiler that arrived in Pearl Harbor on December 6, 1941, which is, as many of us already know, was the last day of peace. The next morning, while under intense fire during a surprise attack by the Imperial Japanese Navy, Neosho's brave crew, including Chief Peterson, down in the engine room, got underway following that first wave of attacks and repositioned the ship trapped in the harbor. Over the next hours and days, Neosho found herself sailing amongst the remnants of the Pacific Fleet, who were now responsible for protecting America from further attack while the nation readied itself for what promised to be a two-front war. In today's context, imagine that, and your shipmates are conducting routine peacetime operations in one moment, and suddenly in the next you find yourself manning battle stations, damage control lockers, maneuvering and fighting against an aggressive, committed adversary intent on destroying your ship. With that image set firmly in your mind, I'd pose a question for each of you to consider as you lead sailors into an uncertain future. Will you have your team trained, poised, and focused, ready to take a direct hit, swiftly repair battle damage, train sights on the enemy, and bring ordnance down on them with devastating effect? Now back to the story. A mere 6 months later, Neosho was part of Task Force 17, responsible for preventing Japan's advances in the South Pacific. On a bright sunny morning, much like today, on May 7, 1942, Japanese scout planes spotted Neosho and her escort. Seeking the tactical advantage, the Japanese quickly launched a massive wave of 78 aircraft to destroy what they believed to be an enemy carrier. This is where the story of Chief Peterson comes front and center. He was positioned in the crew's mess at his assigned battle stations as a repair party leader when an enemy bomb suddenly exploded in the adjacent fire room. The violent explosion ruptured the bulkhead, sending Chief Peterson and others flying across the space onto the deck. Most were seriously injured by shock. Some were killed instantly, while steam immediately filled the compartment. He awoke to find his hands and face severely burned and one of his arms broken. Despite his injury, he knew he had a vital job to do and immediately sprang into action. He and his men were responsible for repairing any breaks in the ship's steam lines to keep the ship alive and under power. If damage was too serious, as it was the case, he was responsible for shutting 4 steam bulkhead stop valves, saving steam pressure and preventing further damage to the ship and her crew. Agonizing pain, he donned thermal gloves. He rallied upon his experience, his intuition, and his courage to guide himself through the mangled fire room trunk and single-handedly shut all 4 cut-off valves. Chief Water Tender Oscar Peterson died in that event, saving the lives of his crew and keeping his ship under power and in the fight. His Medal of Honor citation reads, "His spirit of self-sacrifice and loyalty, characteristic of a fine seaman, was in keeping with the highest traditions of the United States Naval Service. His gallantry gave his life in service for his country." If my 37 years of service has taught me anything, it is this: regardless of the environment, the mission, the situation, or the problem, you must face every facet of your life with the same grit, tenacity, and toughness as the heroes and the stories passed on. Those heroes had one thing in common: they never allowed themselves to become victims. As Chief Petty Officer, you are never a victim. You are a solution provider. You are a problem solver. You draw strength and confidence from the wake of those who have gone before you. The heroic story of Chief Peterson reveals an important part of that legacy, a legacy of warfighting spirit that you inherit here today, one that you must invoke and sustain going forward into the future. He had the technical competency and knowledge to know what needed to be done to save the ship. His leadership was demonstrated through his extraordinary heroism and direct action while under fire, and his strength of character was affirmed by the self-sacrifice to protect and preserve the lives of his shipmates. As you begin your careers as new Chief Petty Officers, I urge you to strive with revitalized dedication to instill the legacy of our Navy's courageous warfighters into the sailors you lead, because the confidence, competence, and character it evokes will permeate throughout all aspects of their lives. Those sailors are our greatest competitive advantage we have over any adversaries, hands down, no exception. As such, we owe it to them and to their families and to our Navy to help forge them into the best person, the best sailor, and the best warfighter they can be. Be enthusiastic, be passionate, and most of all, be there for them. In closing, and while you take time to celebrate with your family and friends, I encourage you to take time to reflect on all the sailors, the chiefs, the officers, and teammates who have offered their hand and support throughout your careers. Take those experiences, the good, and yes, even the ones that push you to your limits, and realize that each of you has something unique and special to provide the next generation of Navy sailors. And always remember that earning your anchors today is not an end state, but a new beginning. Your life, your legacy, your future as a Navy chief starts today. The energy emanating from you will be palpable. I can see it in your faces already. I know that you eagerly accept the challenges ahead and will ensure your sailors continue to be tough, resilient, and resourceful. Remember to maneuver, fight, and win decisively. So congratulations, you've earned it. Celebrate together, because when you return back to your commands, your sailors will be ready to get after it. Make us proud. Thank you.
Thank you, Admiral Cottle. Bosun, post the side boys. One of the distinctive trademarks of the American blue jacket sailor is the white hat, which symbolizes a long and proud tradition of the Navy's core values of honor, courage, and commitment. However, these sailors assembled here today no longer wear that cover. Instead, as our selects ascend to the rank of Chief Petty Officer, they will don a new cover. It's a symbol of their position and responsibility, representing an equally long and proud tradition of service. And it is our tradition that the sponsor of the new Chief Petty Officer presents the new cover to the new Chief. At this time, the selects will be pinned and covered by their distinguished guests and sponsors. Official party, Chief Petty Officers and selects, attention. Chief Select Rojas, McGuire, West, and Shappy, front and center. Chief Select West will be pinned by his wife Ashley and mother Marcella, and will be covered by his father, Senate West. Chief Select Rojas will be pinned by his wife Chanel, daughter Olivia Eve, and son Aiden Kai, and will be covered by Chief Anthony Groh. Chief Select McGuire will be pinned by Senior Chief Damo McCullough and Senior Chief Zane Williams, and covered by Chief Navin Debedine. Chief Select Shappy will be pinned by his wife Cassidy, mother Joanne, and father Matthias, and will be covered by Senior Chief Retired Guy C. Chief John Rojas arriving. Chief Joseph McGuire arriving. Chief Shane West arriving. Chief Jason Shappy arriving. Chief selects Waylahan, James, Krapilis, and Dallas, front and center. Chief select Krapilis will be pinned by Senior Chief Retired Burke Johnson and wife Kirsten, and covered by his sponsor, Senior Chief Darren McHugh. Chief select Waylahan will be pinned by his mother Lori, father Tim, wife Melissa, daughter Bryn, and son Braden, and covered by his sponsor, Chief Cameron Tirabassi. Chief select James will be pinned by his fiancee Shemaine, daughter Michaela, and mother Lorraine, and covered by his sponsor, Chief Caleb Johnson Burrows. Chief select Dallas will be pinned by his mother Angelina and father Dwayne, and covered by his sponsor, Chief John Rojas. Chief Francis Krapilis III arriving. Chief Brian James arriving. Chief Francis Krupillis III, arriving. Chief Marquise Dallas, arriving. Chief selects Ruffin, Blake, Caston, and McGarr, front and center. Chief select Caston will be pinned by his wife Michelle and daughter Arabella, and covered by Chief Jason Dardano. Chief select Ruffin will be pinned by his mother Terry Brown and uncle Lieutenant Colonel U.S. Army retired William Crutchfield, and covered by his sponsor, Senior Chief Derek Reese. Chief select Blake will be pinned by his mother, Heather, and daughter, Kalia, and covered by his sponsor, Chief Erica Trueheart. Chief select McGarr will be pinned by his wife, Megan, and Chief Travis Young, and covered by his sponsor, Chief Jeff Agee. Chief Edgar Ruffin, arriving. Chief Jermaine Blake, arriving. Chief Stephen Caston, arriving. Chief Daniel McGarr, arriving. Chief Select Mignona, Damon, Barreras, and Carissa, front and center. Chief Select Barreras will be pinned by Mother Karen. Chief Select Barreras will be pinned by Mother Karen and Father Stephen, and co-sponsor Chief Chris Smith, and covered by Senior Chief Retired Joel Huval. Chief Select Mignona will be pinned by his wife Raylyn and brother Chief Retired Zach Anderson, and covered by his sponsor Chief Stuart Dahl. Chief Select Damon will be pinned by Senior Chief Retired Charles Payton and Senior Chief Retired Michael Harden, and covered by his sponsor Chief Bree Abbott. Chief Select Carissa will be pinned by her mother Teresa, stepfather Frank, father James, and son Warren, and covered by her sponsor, Senior Chief Eris Rayner. Chief Scott Mignona, arriving. Chief Kayshawn Damon, arriving. Chief Timothy Barreras, arriving. Chief Brooke Carissa, arriving. Chief selects Reeves, Hines, Otey, and Swanner, front and center. Chief Select Otey will be pinned by her son Matthew. Chief Kevin Devon, son Elijah and Chief Frank Trujillo, and covered by her mother Karen Wilson, and sponsor Senior Chief Gina Campbell. Chief Select Reeves will be pinned by his mother Charlene, stepfather Wendell, and sister Talisha, and covered by his sponsor, Chief Michael Prendingue. Chief Select Hines will be pinned by his mother Christine, father Mark, wife Christina, and daughter Evelyn, and covered by his sponsor, Senior Chief Eric Alden. Chief Select Swanner will be pinned by her father, Petty Officer First Class Retired Andrew Miller, mother Gidget, wife Brianna, sister Amber, and daughter Emery, and covered by her sponsor, Senior Chief James Bray. Chief Theodore Reeves, arriving. Chief Benjamin Hines, arriving. Chief Samandra Ote, arriving. Chief Felicia Swanner, arriving. Chief Select Strong, Plato, Heblin, Grove, and Castro, front and center. Chief Select Grove will be pinned by Captain Dawn Weatherby and Chief Retired Matt Nolly, and covered by her sponsor, Senior Chief Ryan Swan. Chief Select Plato will be pinned by her father, Lieutenant Colonel U.S. Army Retired Skip Beyerschmidt, and mother, Major U.S. Army Retired Larkin Plato, and covered by her sponsors, Senior Chief Rand McGee and Mike Ferry. Chief Select Strong will be pinned by her daughter, Haidia, mother, Diane, brother, Yusef, and nieces, Cyan and Sienna, and covered by her sponsors, Senior Chief Anthony Pena and Chief Tanika Thomas. Chief Select Heblin will be pinned by her husband, Damien, and Chief Jezreel Wheeler, and covered by her sponsor, Chief Miguel Hernandez. Chief Select Castro will be pinned by his father, Julio Jr., and Rear Admiral Retired James Bynum, and covered by his sponsor, Chief Daniel Blake. Chief Denisha Strong, arriving. Chief Sloan Plato, arriving. Chief Sarah Heblin, arriving. Chief Ashley Grove, arriving. Chief Julio Castro III, arriving. Bosun, post the side boys. I will now read the frocking letter. Authority to assume the title and wear the uniform of a Chief Petty Officer. Per the Military Personnel Manual, Section 1420, Tac 060, you are authorized to assume the title and wear the uniform of a Chief Petty Officer effective immediately. Your appointment carries with it the obligation that you exercise increased authority and willingly accept greater responsibility. Occupying now a position of greater authority, you must strive with a renewed dedication toward the valued ideal of service with honor. Per the Military Personnel Manual, you will not be entitled to pay and other monetary allowances of a Chief Petty Officer until actually advanced to the pay grade for which you have been selected. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to present to you the fiscal year 2023 Naval District Washington Area Chief Petty Officers. And now Command Master Chief Sean Craycraft will read the Chief Petty Officer Creed.
All Chief Petty Officers, active, retired, and honorary, attention to the creed. During the course of initiation, you have been caused to humbly accept challenge, face adversity. This you have accomplished with rare good grace. Pointless as some of these challenges may have seemed, they were valid, time-honored reasons behind each pointed barb. Your faith in the fellowship of the Chief Petty Officer was necessary to overcome these hurdles. The goal was to instill in you the trust is inherent with the donning of the uniform of a chief. Our intent was to impress upon you that challenge is good, great, and a necessary reality which cannot mar you, which in fact strengthens you. In your future as a Chief Petty Officer, you will be forced to endure adversity far beyond what thus has far been imposed upon you. You must face each challenge and adversity with the same dignity and good grace you have already demonstrated. By experience, by performance, and by testing, you have been advanced to Chief Petty Officer in the United States Navy. And only in the United States Navy, the rank of E7 carries with it unique responsibilities and privileges you're expected to fulfill, bound to observe. Your entire way of life has changed. More will be expected of you. More will be demanded of you. Not because you're an E7, but because you are now a Chief Petty Officer. You have not merely been promoted to pay grade. You have joined an exclusive fellowship. As in all fellowships, you have a special responsibility to your comrades, even as they have a special responsibility to you. This is why we in the United States Navy may maintain with pride our feeling of accomplishment once we have attained the position of Chief Petty Officer. Your responsibilities and privileges do not appear in print. They do not have an official standing. They cannot be referred to by name, number, nor file. They have existed for over 100 years because chiefs before you have freely accepted responsibility beyond the call of printed assignment. Their actions, their performance, demand the respect of their seniors as well as their juniors. It is required that you be the fountain of wisdom, the ambassador of goodwill, the authority in personal relations, as well as the technical applications. Ask the chief is a household phrase in and out of the Navy. You are the Chief Petty Officer, the exalted position you have achieved, and the word exalted is used advisedly. It exists of the service, character, and performance of the chiefs before you, and it shall exist only as long as you and your fellow chiefs maintain these standards. It was our intention that we never forget this day, that you never forget this day. It was our intention to test you, to try you, to accept you. Your performance has assured us that you will wear the hat with the same pride as your comrades in arms before you. We take a deep, sincere pleasure in clasping your hand and accepting you as a Chief Petty Officer in the United States Navy.
Thank you, Command Master Chief Craycraft. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the benediction, Sailor's Creed, and remain standing for the departure of the official party.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for your presence with us today as we have sought to honor these incoming chiefs. As they go out to fill this new role, we ask that you give them courage in the mission, understanding for their sailors, and wisdom in all circumstances. We ask that you pour out your blessing on them, that they might be a blessing to their sailors, their officers, and the rest of the mess. Go with each of us now. Give us your presence and a spirit of service that we might lift up those around us. Bless our nation and its leaders as we stand for all that is right and good and free in this world. We ask all of this in your holy name. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Stroud. Attention to the Sailor's Creed.
Commitment. I, the United States sailor, I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America, and I will obey the orders of those appointed over me. I represent the fighting spirit of the Navy and those who have gone before me to defend freedom and democracy around the world. I proudly serve my country's Navy combat team with honor, courage, and commitment. I am committed to excellence and fair treatment of all. Navy Chief! Navy Pride! Navy Chief! Navy Pride!
Bosun, post the side boys. Fleet Forces Command, departing. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's ceremony. Thank you for attending, and please take a moment to congratulate our newest Chief Petty Officers. For those present, please join us inside the Navy Memorial for a light reception.
Navy Chief!